reason to start Inkbit was to develop a highly scalable additive manufacturing process. This process is also multi-material. This means that you can combine different types of materials at this tiny resolution. So you can combine different droplets of, for example, soft and rigid materials within a single part. This is a capability that's currently not quite possible in other manufacturing processes. And with this, you can realize lots of very interesting products and different applications that combine different materials and expand the range of what can be currently created.
So the core technology at Inkbit started as a project here at MIT. So Wojciech came to MIT with a strong background in computational fabrication, and he wanted to develop a program around developing new 3D printing technologies. And as we started defining a project, the idea was to create a new next generation multi-material 3D printing platform. So the idea of being able to 3D print with multiple materials was the core of the initial motivation. And as we started scoping out and understanding the landscape, we found that combining machine vision and inkjet technology, which is at the core of our technology, would be a very powerful combination. So we started working on combining inkjet and machine vision, primarily with the idea of developing a very low-cost 3D printing platform. And that was a project called Multifab, which actually was covered by MIT CSAIL back in 2015 or 16. And that was the initial core technology that we spun out into Inkbit.
The journey of bringing these research projects from a lab to something that we can actually sell to end-use customers is long. It took us 7 years to do so.
At MIT, we focus on developing great cutting-edge technology. And a lot of that technology is very valuable, but sometimes not in the form as it comes out of the lab. So we took an approach where we spun out the technology, but as soon as you start interacting with customers and the market, you learn that a lot of the initial ideas you had about the technology are maybe not the right fit for the commercial opportunities. So we evolved and changed our initial approach, and our system today, the Inkbit Vista, is actually a very much an industrial production system meant for an industrial setting. So very different from our initial idea of, I'd say, something closer to a consumer or prosumer product.
The second thing that really is very much improved are the materials. So the process that we have developed enables for the first time really to print with completely new types of chemistries. So bringing these chemistries was a very big endeavor that we had to take along the way. And we plan in the future, of course, to continue with developing more sophisticated materials for 3D printing and for our platform.
There is a general trend in the field of manufacturing towards a world with faster and faster product innovation. The old ways of making products most likely will not work completely in the future. Where 3D printing comes in is its power, its potential to enable very fast iterations and very fast market introduction. So there is a big push in the 3D printing industry to go from prototyping, where it has traditionally been known, into production. At Inkbit, our mission is to develop a platform where engineers, product developers will be able to go seamlessly from rapid prototyping and testing to volume production on the same machine, so on the same architecture. So removing the barrier that is present today between the prototyping step and the manufacturing in volume will create a different world, will create products that will change much, much faster, and will create products that we don't even imagine are possible today.
On the scientific side, on the research side, we have introduced vision-controlled jetting. So this is a method that's at the heart of our 3D printing process, and it uses high-speed scanning systems to inform what should be printed next.
And this has a number of advantages. The obvious one is increased precision, increased accuracy, but most importantly, because the process is contactless, we can use dark cure chemistries, continuously curing chemistries that give rise to much better material properties. So at the end of the day, the goal is to have a system that can print materials that are usable in production.
There are many important accomplishments that we have achieved along the way. One of the achievements that I am especially proud is a new 3D packing algorithm that we have developed at Inkbit. This algorithm is very exciting because it allows us to fully utilize these printers. For example, it can pack up to 40% of the actual volume, and this largely determines how expensive the parts are. As you can imagine, the packing density to some extent determines the efficiency of the printing process. On the commercial side, we are exploring lots of exciting applications with our customers, and some of these applications involve 3D printing of multi-material parts that have, for example, both soft and rigid components. We are also shipping printers to customers. For example, we are about to ship printers to the US Air Force.
We are at the beginning of the journey. We have developed the platform, we have proven that the concept works. Now, what needs to be done is, I would say, three things. Number one, we need to continue to develop new chemistries, to develop new materials to meet the demands of the products of the future. And that is what we're working on tirelessly at Inkbit. Number two, I'm intrigued by the connection between the software design tools that are currently available and the capabilities of our process. For example, today there are no commercially available design tools for multi-material parts. And in another area that I'm very intrigued by is the idea that a design tool should be process aware. So right now, the design tools that are available don't know how this conceptual model that you have on a screen will be translated into atoms. Well, I think in the future that should be part of the design package, meaning that if I'm going to print this part on an Inkbit machine, I should know from the beginning what are the capabilities and the limitation of each platform. So the connection between the design tools, the software portion, and the process, I think, is an area that is ripe for innovation. And then the third aspect that is crucial is to develop stronger relationships with OEM manufacturers to bring awareness of the new capabilities that we bring to the table. And not just Inkbit, many other 3D printing companies. I think working on applications, working together on the products of the future will require a partnership model that I think will be a winning combination for the future of this industry.